Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast. I'm Jim Williams, your host, and we are going to, over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully years, educate, enlighten, and entertain you as we do a deep dive every 2 weeks into the multi-billion-dollar world that is the fastest growing area of fashion, and of course, we're talking about lingerie. Now, through Lingerie Lowdown, the website, and our YouTube channel, you've seen women and men who review thousands of different items from all over the world. Now, here on the podcast, we're going to give you a chance to get to know those presenters who come from all corners of the globe and are very diverse and inclusive. They're models who represent all body types, give honest reviews of the thousands of different items that they review. Plus, we're going to meet some of the industry insiders who represent some of the top fashion houses throughout the world. Plus, we're going to introduce you to some of the top cutting-edge designers from the smaller brands that are making a name for themselves as they take on the fashion industry. To that point, this week we talk with the co-founder of Shapings.com, one of the world's leading areas to find all things hosiery. Our guest is the co-founder, as I said before, Robert Safko. Robert, tell us a little bit about how Shapings came about.
Well, it started back in 1995. My wife was looking for undergarments for under her wedding gown, and she was quite endowed, and we had to go into the big city in order to find the proper undergarments to give her that shape for her our special day. So, and she was in between jobs and careers, and a couple of her friends mentioned she should open up one of these stores in our area. So that was a joke. And then 6 months later, fast forward, we opened our store called Shapings. So we sold bras, underwear, shapewear, corsets, the odd selection of European hosiery. And it started off to be a quite popular source for women to get the perfect fitting undergarment. We fast forward to 2000, year 2000, when this sort of internet thing was coming to be,
right?
and internet shopping. I decided to design a website focusing on products we sold in the store. And I quickly discovered after 3 or 4 months that the hosiery was the main item. So we kept adding and adding more and importing our own brands. And then in 2003, we started our own photography. And things started to really snowball from there. We started taking more of the shapewear products, bras, and other items that were hard to fit for someone not in the store. We found a lot of returns were coming back, half of them, because bras are hard enough to fit in person instead of mail order. So we decided to stick with the hosiery and start developing more brand names, importing brands that have never been heard of over here in North America. We went over to conferences and conventions in Paris and found some brands that were not even exported out of their own country.
Wow.
Mainly Cecilia de Raphael. We found them back in 2005, and they had never even exported out of Spain at that point. And even Platino. Now they are world known because of the internet. And we were one of the first online retailers, I should say the first online retailers to feature these brands. So yeah, we've been doing this for 19 years and still going strong, and it's still exciting for us. It's every day is a new adventure in hosiery land here. We have a warehouse that's 2,500 square feet and probably house about 150,000 pairs of hosiery at one time for direct shipping.
My goodness. It's wonderful to see a family business that really just gets started in the old fashioned way of a mom and pop idea that brands out to become a successful global enterprise.
Yeah, we found that our local market, especially in the hosiery, is that it's becoming a scarce type fashion
Mhm.
for women on the streets. I don't know how often you see a woman in fine hosiery out there, but it needs to be a global market for any hosiery retail to, um, I guess, attract and service a customer, because you
Mhm.
can't open shops in every city and town and provide this type of product to an individual that may or may might need it for that one event or may need it for everyday wear. So
Right.
the internet has really opened up a world of possibilities, per se, that
Mhm.
will allow these people the products they want to source out.
It's funny. Recently spoke to um, one of a retailer who started their uh, brand thinking, well, our our market is basically not necessarily even the entire country, but a region of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Turning out that their first order came from Australia.
Yeah,
So they found
that
out
was
very
us.
quickly that this is there are people out there who want what we have, and they don't care where you are. They just want the product.
And the more unique products you bring in and color selection, size,
Mm-hmm.
the way you present the product, a person from Australia is going to say, you know what, these people know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in business for years, and heck, well, I don't see anything within my area
Right.
that will supply my needs. So
Mm-hmm.
let the good old postal system provide me the service and door to door, and a week later, I'm going to have that special product.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Robert, as we get ready here for the spring and the summer and into the fall fashion time, what are some of the trends in hosiery that you're seeing?
Well, I think technology is something that a lot of people don't realize. It's an ongoing quest for hosiery manufacturers, especially
Mm-hmm.
the fiber manufacturers. And most of these new fibers are coming out of Japan, where the knitting practice and blending practice is going on in Italy and Austria and Poland. These factories, they bring in the fibers from Japan and they blend them, the lycra and the nylon, to produce their own thread. Double covered lycra is a term you might see on a lot of websites, but
Mm-hmm.
specifically ours, because it's an important factor of what makes up the hose. You have a lycra fiber being twisted inside two nylon fibers. So that's your double covered lycra. Now you have different grades of that, depending on how many twists of the nylon. You can have 25 twists per inch or 1,500 twists per inch, and that all results in a better fit, better quality hosiery. It becomes something that sags on you or something that fits like a fitted suit. Um, it's a tailored leg wear, we call it. And even that technology is decades old, but you're getting into cooling effect yarns. Women complain about the heat that builds up even with ultra shears. They
Mm-hmm.
have yarns that will cool your legs as you wear them, like 3 degrees cooler than the rest of your body, and it actually does work just by the micro filaments and the air conditioning effect that these fibers have to allow your perspiration to escape, hence producing a cooling effect like an air conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's ones that have a nanofiber. Nanofiber is now becoming, last year they developed, which is a finer fiber than microfiber. It's even more finer and less detectable on your skin than before. It's amazing when you could stretch a pair of hosiery on your leg, and you could be 6 inches from it and say, "Is there actually hosiery on your leg?" Um, which gives you a matte makeup finish and basically a polished look for your legs, and that's mainly what sheer hosiery and skin tone hosiery is for, is to blend into your skin, take all your lumps and bumps and veins, and create one smooth finish from your toes up to your hemline. So that's a quest that hosiery companies are going for, is the undetectable aspect of sheer hosiery, and what sheer hosiery is made for. Anything other than your skin tone, now you're getting into fashion. Different colors, off blacks are even considered a fashion color, because that's depending on your skin tone. That could be your skin tone, but it for a Caucasian woman, black is still a fashion type coloring to match up with a wardrobe.
Sure.
We call skin tone as cosmetic, where anything other than your skin tone becomes a fashion color.
Are you finding a specific trend? More people are buying stay-ups or pantyhose, or just plain stockings. Where's the trend going, or is it pretty much staying the same?
It's pretty much the same. We sell about 80% full waist hose as opposed to stockings and stay-ups. Our fashion hosiery is becoming less and less per year. We're not putting as much effort into it. Companies put twice the seasons out. They spend so much money and effort on putting fashion items out. It's hard to keep up with it when it's only 5% of their business. So, and that follows suits to us as well. We used to be big in the fashion, but for the amount of work that it's needed to bring the product in, showcase it on the site, bring maybe a few dozen pair in, because next season in 6 months they'll be bringing out the next fashion. So, and then a lot of North American women, they just don't know how to wear it. They don't know how to coordinate. They don't know what to add. They get different textures, colors. So it opens up a whole new realm of fashion sense in order to wear fashion hosiery. But getting back to your original question, these stay-ups and stockings is, it could be a functional hosiery, or it could be into the glamour, more seductive end of it.
Right.
Which hosiery is. It's either functional, either it's an everyday item, or you can get into club wear and, of course, the sexual type image you want to portray. So, and that's where
whatever the mood you're in, so to speak.
That's right. And I think a lot of younger generation girls that they'll go more towards the stay up than stocking, because the garter belt is a whole another genre that women have to, I guess, explore and discover, and depending on their mother, if they have brought them up with a garter belt in mind. But I think daughters, they sort of play on part when they're growing up to what their mother has, and what they have in their boudoir.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about how you got involved with Scott and the folks at Lingerie Lowdown. I know there's a lot of folks over there that are very pleased with your products as presenters.
Well, I found them through, I think it was YouTube at first, and then the Instagram came, and then I thought, you know what? I like the fact that the reviewers were dissecting the product on its merit.
Right.
A lot of review sites were getting too much involved in their personal opinion on the product, and there's a lot of technical investment that a company takes to put out a hosiery product. There's a lot of money involved. Then for them to sit there and have one pair of hose being cut down with the audience that they may or may not have, you can have 1,000 people listening to this one review or reading a review, and all of a sudden, this is a poor product because it didn't fit me. Well, That's fine and dandy. What's your measurements? What's your thigh? What's your inseam? What's your hips? What's your waist? Like it's why are you giving a poor review because it doesn't fit you personally? So that in itself can cut down a product so quickly. I don't think it's fair, especially with the people involved in the factories that develop these type of products to be shot down by an inexperienced reviewer that has no real understanding of how that product came to be and the science behind it. And just because it didn't fit you properly shouldn't make it a bad product. And not even just the sizing; it's understanding what's in the package. Um, there was one reviewer that was reading the name of the color, and she thought it was a cosmetic product, but yet the actual color name was cosmetic, and yet
Okay.
the size was maxi cosmetic. Well, she made it out to be a maxi cosmetic type product. So this must be an ultimate cosmetic product because she was reading the actual size and the color name.
Okay.
It's like, wait a minute, it's not a cosmetic product. It's a semi-sheer 40 denier product that has you just happen to receive the color called cosmetic, and
Right.
it's in the maxi size.
Right.
So that in itself just I pull my hair out because if you're going to review a product, you better well know what you're looking at, and you better be skilled at what hosiery is all about. So this is why I enjoy Lingerie Lowdown, because the girls on there, they actually dissect the product and look at it as its own merit. And most of the time, they don't give their personal preferences. And there's a few that are there that I sort of, you know, scrunch at and say, listen, girls, you might not like it, but let's just review for what it is and not say, I don't like it. Just say, and that's the type of review I think with anything, reviewing cars and such. It's like, this is what it is. I'm showing you everything about this product. It's up to the person looking at it to decide if they want to go forward.
Right.
But
Yeah,
that's what I like about Lingerie Lowdown.
I think the fairness factor is there because there'll be, and it may be hosiery, but more often other things, that they'll say, look, this might not be to my taste. However, there's nothing wrong with the product, and it might very well be to your taste. So, I do think that they're fair in that regard, that they don't write something off just because it doesn't fit their taste.
Right.
So, they don't just say, chuck it because it's no good. They don't say that at all. They say, look, it's not my taste, but you know what? I'm quite certain that there might be somebody out there who will enjoy it because it's not a bad product. It's a fine product. It's just not to my taste.
Yeah, and if they review a $5 pair of hose to a $20 pair,
right?
And I see this a lot on YouTube. It's like they do the hosiery tests. It's like they got a Wolford, they got a Felipe Matignon, a Filodoro, and like, okay, but and they're doing cartwheels and they're doing this test and that test. It's like, well, one's a 40 denier, one's a 20 denier, one's a 15, one has double covered Lycra, one has, anti-run technology, and yet they're
when you got it,
they're lumping it all into scores.
Right.
It's like, you got to get apples and apples. Give me a Wolford 40 denier, give me a Filodoro 40 denier, give me a double covered Lycra in all these brands, and then we'll give you an apples to apples test.
Right.
So, but they don't see that. It's all about entertainment and shock value and brands, and this scores higher than that. Well, you're not reviewing the same product. Right. You're reviewing a pickup towards a
Mustang. Right. You've got a Mustang pickup, and
Ford's better at that as opposed to the Chevy, like whatever you're reviewing. It's like, well, review the two pickups then.
Right.
So
get a Camaro and a Mustang and an F-150 and a Silverado, and then you got yourself a deal.
Right. Exactly. So, and with hosiery, it seems like it's all open.
We have a wonderfully easy to navigate website. been on it, and there's all kinds of things there. You've got all types of brands, all types of styles, all types of support situations. You can talk a little bit about your website and also how we can follow you on Instagram or any of your social media.
Well, Instagram, we're under shapings.com as you spell it all out.
We'll put all this in the show box so that everybody will be able to follow it.
Perfect. I like to view a website that has organization to it. So if we go into our brands, you're going to see everything nicely laid out. Your pantyhose, your stay-ups, your stockings. So if you're looking into a specific brand that you like, you can go to each section and see what we have to offer in that one style hosiery. The photography is something that is a must. We started back in 2003, and it just became our our priority. I do all the photography on the website. We put a lot of money and effort into it. We go over to Europe. We hire models. We go on locations. We want the product to be represented as much detail as you can instead of just scanning a package. We do full high-res photos. Another window, browser window shows up, and you're going to get a full screen and then some of the product. Someone in, like you say, Australia is not going to look at a little thumbnail and say, what's this going to look like on the leg? We actually take real life situations and say, this is what the hosiery is going to look like. We shoot with a very expensive camera, very expensive lighting, and what you see is what you're going to get at your end. So, and I don't think of many websites that take that type of angle to their marketing. It's usually what the manufacturers can provide them or some type of studio shooting that they might have, but we take it very seriously.
We'll be back with more after this from BMW i3, the ultimate electric driving machine.
Life is about making decisions. At BMW i, we decided it was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for truly innovative ideas. We decided that the car we wanted must be electric, and it should be made of extremely light and super strong carbon fiber. And finally, we decided to make it more intelligent and added our promise of incomparable driving pleasure. We made all these decisions to offer you a choice. The all-electric BMW i3.
Welcome back to Lingerie Lowdown. Well, you can tell. I mean, anybody who visits your website straight on will find out very quickly that that the photography is phenomenal, and it definitely showcases the hard work that you put into it.
Yeah, I think once people find us and see that we are into it, and they find the detail of our products, because hosiery can be a very intimidating type market. If you're not that skilled in what's out there and what you're looking for in hosiery, it can be quite daunting. So we want to take that type of uncertainty out of that online shopping, whereas when you're looking at a department store, you have the packaging, but yet you can have a sample sitting there that you can put your hand through it and see what it looks like. So where manufacturers, they have to look at the department stores and the packaging, that's where it's going to sit. But they also realize that the product could be there as a sample, especially in Europe, in these fine boutiques, that you will find that, swatches hanging there, and one could feel it and touch it. Well, you can't do that online, so that's where we come in, and we do our YouTube videos. We have a layout of our YouTube videos of an overview of the specifics of the product, shot on very high res video cameras and lighting. So we're so busy out here in the warehouse, it's to develop these type of videos, it just takes time. We have to it's you got to look at priorities, and serving our customers, it's top. So
There you go. Well, Robert, I appreciate you joining us. And as I say, if anybody's interested, and they should be, check out shapings.com, because that's where you'll find all of your wonderful stuff. And you're very, one thing we should touch on is you also have a very outstanding array of styles and all body types.
yeah, we try and bring in every size is available. We don't discriminate on size, because maybe one size doesn't sell as much as the other, so we shouldn't hold inventory. I know we're talking world market. We're not talking the area we live in. And we do also have a male clients. There's a lot of men that wear hosiery, specifically compression hosiery. And that is one market that I think is growing to the point of acknowledging that there is a need for all legs, male or female, to require some type of graduated compression, because I don't think there's a male vein and a woman's vein that's not going to benefit from the science of graduated compression hosiery. So, and it is a science, and if women could wear them under their pants to get relief, why can't a male? Because of his anatomy, he's not allowed, because anything above his knee, well, that becomes some different type of male. But yet the over the knee type of hosiery is okay for the woman because it gives her full leg support. She's able to get it, but the guy isn't. So there's sort of a gender inequality there when it comes to...
It's kind of funny, because if you look at it, right, a lot of athletes wear compression socks, compression, pants, because of, for blood flow.
Yeah, there's a science.
So there's no real difference, I would think, in that type of athletic wear versus, the kind of socks and hosiery you're talking about with a man, because, it keeps you from getting, blood issues in your, because unfortunately we don't get up and move around as often as we should. It does
Pilots, help. Office workers, people working at...
those of us who have to be on planes all the time,
standing in one spot, the list goes on. And even athletic wear with the compression, you would have to look at the actual compression of it. Is it gradual compression? Is it more compression at the ankle and works and decreases as the leg goes up?
Right.
Or is it a full-on compression rating all the way up to the waist? So, and in that aspect, it's more for working out instead of therapeutic aspect of graduated compression.
Right.
And when you're standing, all your blood wants to pool down to your ankle in between heartbeats. And that's where the ache and pain comes from, is your vein stretching. That's where you want to, at the end of the day, put your feet up, because your legs have been stretched. I should say your veins on the outside have been constantly being pressurized by the downward flow of the hydrostatic pressure of blood in between heartbeats. So does a man get limited to something up to below their knee, where you can have varicose veins just tucked in behind your knee, where the cuff is? Or do you have something that has a gradual compression that covers those veins up across your knee, up to your waist, and all of a sudden you get a full support for the entire leg? But no. The full support leg high is for women, because why? Where did that all come into existence? Anything above the knee, you must be
about it.
You must be some type of guy that, it's like, well, the woman beside me is getting the full benefit, yet I can't.
And this guy's going in for a heart valve transplant.
So you got to get over the society's view of 4 inches longer on the leg, where you are now this type of man, but 4 inches less, you're okay.
Right. So, all right.
So our
final,
clients are both gender, and we try to not try. We do not discriminate on what you want as hosiery. And some men like sheer hosiery as a pant liner. It keeps them warmer, and there's light support. There's the feeling of satin on their legs that they enjoy. It's like satin sheets in your bed.
That's right.
Right. So and they just want it on their bodies, and who's to judge? And
not me.
Well, there's a lot of women out there that like the sensation of hosiery, not just for fashion. They might just like the feel of it, but yet because they're women, they feel that. Were they born with that feeling because they're female?
I don't think so, but hey.
100 years ago, that a female never had this opportunity to wear these fine fabrics.
Yep.
So, but nowadays, she's the only one allowed to wear these fine fabrics. 400 years ago, men wore lace cuffs and lace and makeup and big hair and satin and velour outfits and high heels. Like all of a sudden, this generation, that type of, I call it fabric enticement, is now not allowed because we have all these new fabrics available to us, especially fine hosiery. But we're not allowed to have it because we take it for granted.
So any last things you'd like to tell us about shapings?
What you'll find with us is that we know our stuff. We know hosiery inside and out for the products we carry. We're in tune with the manufacturers on a weekly basis. There's a lot of products that I myself has developed with companies. The CDR Eternal line was my baby, as you can say. I had them. I was closely involved in that project, and it has just branched off into this beautiful line of hosiery. So we live and breathe it. We just constantly look at new styles that we feel is wearable. We don't bring in every single style and company under the sun. We're not that type of retailer where, okay, if that's a brand of hosiery, we must bring it in because that'll add to our repertoire. Like there's a lot of websites that say we're the largest and we're the biggest. And it's like, well, should you be? Like this company here, they sent us samples. I'm like, this is not even worth wearing, like compared to something this other company's producing for the same price. Why should I bring this in because it's a different brand, where this company here is just doing just fine with what you're offering at a lesser quality? So we bring in products and we study them, we test them, we do a wearability, we see how they look, and say, you know what, this product can go out into the masses of our customers, and we won't see it back because the customer at that end is going to enjoy it so well. So we do the shopping for you. We just don't bring in every single thing under the sun.
Right.
So that's a main effort that we put through our company. And we seldom get returns. We might get 3 or 4 returns a month. And most of it could be just in sizing issues or color, but never on this product is poor. And it's a good feeling after 19 years knowing that most of our products that get sent out, people enjoy.
Well, clearly you have the passion for it, and we also thank you for the science lesson as well. We got a fashion lesson and a science lesson too.
Yeah, I think the science part is something that hosiery is not really getting its just light, I should say. It's something that pantyhose is lumped into just one. Well, just go out and get a pair of pantyhose and throw it on, right? But there's some really neat R&D happening out there, and that's where we come in. So on our website, you can see masses of product, but when you actually click on and study each product, go through descriptions and see the photos, you can actually tell, man, this is something I would really look at maybe trying, because this is not your normal pantyhose that, your cotton gusset, your normal waistband, and sheer toe. Like has some R&D backing on it. I mean, the fiber and the fit and the new waistbands, and like I could sleep in this pair of hose if I needed to. So
There you
I
go.
think someone that's shopping for hosiery can discover new things out there, because it's happening every season, and with basics. In fashion, it's becoming manufacturers are now repeating what they did 10 years ago. It's like, okay, well, the computers can do this, but maybe we'll tweak this design a bit. And, but not every woman out there wants to have their legs at center stage. They just want a great fitting looking pantyhose that they could step out and say, look at my legs.
And comfortable.
And comfortable, right. And the other point on that is, why should I spend more money on a pair of hose? Well, it could be the science and technology to go into that fiber that's going to make you feel good about fitting into it and getting a long day out of not even thinking you wear pantyhose, because that's how it's designed. So the cost is not just, well, will it wear longer? And I get a lot of this from people. Will it last longer? Or am I going to get more wears out of it? It's like, well, do you get more champagne out of a bottle of Dom Perignon? Right? You get 750 milliliters of champagne and you're spending $200 for this. Why are you buying it? Because it's with hosiery, it's going to fit better. It's going to look amazing on your legs. And overall, it could be more durable, but it depends on the wearer. Right.
Absolutely. I mean,
right. If you're not gonna have your toes polished or your heels nice and soft and moisturized, then of course you're gonna tear through them. If you even know how to put them on, are you gonna wear your cotton gloves, or your fingers got hangnails? Like there's an etiquette for putting your hosiery on. We supply cotton hosiery gloves in case you have a slight hangnail that can put a pull in a nice 5 denier hose. We recommend using rubber gloves, like the grip palm, like dishwashing gloves. After this is a technique that people sort of, what do you mean rubber gloves? And I see this with the reviewers, and I'm actually going to send a pair of rubber gloves to Lingerie Lowdown for my next review set. Once the hose is to the waist, you see a lot of the women using their fingertips, and they're trying to stretch and pull. And a lot of these fibers are so clingy that you can't get it off your skin to adjust. And of course, they didn't get it on properly in the first place. They just couldn't slide it on, and it's twisted, or it could be, well, the rubber palms of rubber gloves, like dishwashing, can manipulate the hose with your full palm.
Right.
And you can actually take the hose and do a 180-degree turn on your legs if you twisted them, or they need to be hooked up more. And that saves the hose. A lot of women won't even get out of the door because they're tugging and pulling and trying to twist it to get it on right.
Right. And you've got your nails involved as well.
Right. And so the beauty of these new hose out there is that once they're on properly and stretched fully, not overly stretched, but the beauty of the yarn comes through when it's put on properly and stretched uniformly from waist to toe, being that it's your right size. And we'll touch on that after I get through this. But once it's on there properly, it's going to perform much better than having something that you didn't get in place 100% on the get-go. So, and even the proper size on most of these fibers, that they can stretch. There's a lot of generous pull to them. But because women are not getting them on properly and they want them looser, so they always go for the larger size because they think it's going to fit better. But yet, some of these hose are going to start sagging. Well, I'm going to get those extra size pair of pants because it just feels looser. Well, those pants just start hanging on you. It's the same with hosiery. If you get too large of a size, the crotch starts to hang. They think it's too small, but it's just too big. So with these, high lycra type hosiery and the technology out there, you have to get the right size for you. And always skipping up the size might not be the best. It's about getting them fully stretched so they look better on your leg. Like some of these hose look very scrunched and dull and just not pleasing to the eye until they're fully stretched. And that's the way they're designed for. So if you have something large and you have to distribute that extra length throughout your leg, you're not going to get the proper finish out of that leg wear. There's some hosiery that looks like oil on your leg, but you're not going to get the oil effect until it's fully stretched.
Mm-hmm. All right, before we leave, let's go with one quick thing, and that is your suggestion you're the expert. We have an audience here. What are some tips you want to give our audience to must-haves in their wardrobe?
Well, depending on the age of the woman and depending on her social status, you're going to get into if she works in an office or if she's on her feet all day. So all those criteria play into what type of hosiery she needs in her drawer.
Let's say most of these folks are business women.
Okay. Depending on the season, you're looking for a good 3D microfiber opaque tight, something in a 50 denier for colder weather. If you're more in a summer type or a warmer weather climate, you'd want something like a 20 denier, double covered lycra, sheer to waist, fully bordered, great soft waistband to get her through the day without fighting with her hose. You want the hose to work with her. Going out in the town, another 15 denier or less type hosiery. You can get into an ultra sheer, either a gloss hose or a matte, depending on her style or how she wants her legs portrayed. If she wants makeup or she wants them a little bit more center stage. Stay up or stocking for times when she wants to, I guess, sex it up. I guess not to, use that word in a way of. I think it should
be more stylish. We'll put
if you got a cocktail dress and you want to be a little bit more, you got your fancy lingerie underneath, you got your bra and panty and garter set, then a nice lace top stocking sort of goes hand in hand and completes you as a female. Even though you don't see the stocking top, you're going to feel
a very feminine feel.
Yes, you spend all this money on a bra and panty set. And a nice lace top, and that's where the money comes in with the lace top and stay-ups. It's the lace, it's the sewing of it, it's hand sewn onto the actual stocking. So you look at the cost of a stay-up, it's much higher than the pantyhose. But when you really look at a $25 stay-up, you could be spending the same amount of money on a lace panty, or even more, which has less lace involved, right? So it actually becomes a piece of lingerie, and we find that the lace top stocking is this piece of lingerie that can stay on all night. It doesn't end up on the base, the bedroom floor.
Okay.
So, and then you're looking at a compression. If a woman that's looking at keeping her legs healthy, not necessarily that she has venous problems,
right?
But they can prevent them. And I tell a lot of young ladies that are on their feet, is like, well, I'm not wearing that. That's a grandma thing. It's like, well, maybe you want to wear the light support so you don't have to wear the heavy ones as you get older, because staying on your feet and standing still, well, 10 years of that, you're going to see it play its toll. So, yeah, and if a woman has a certain wardrobe and she wants her legs to show, then, yeah, those are the items that I would recommend to, at least have in their drawers. And then you could play on it from there, from colors to different textures to. And I also recommend throwing the hosiery back into the actual package to keep them straight and knowing what you're putting on. And because pulling them out of a drawer, not knowing where it's from, you just don't understand what that product is. And is this the proper product for what I'm doing for that day? So I recommend them washing them on a daily basis. I know that's quite difficult with people on the go, but the actual body oils is what breaks down the lycra fiber. So the more they sit, especially on a, if you've been sweating a lot, and it does break down the fibers. Not the nylon. The nylon's pretty much indestructible. It's the lycra that tends to break down with body oil. So it's good to not keep them hanging around.
Longer.
Sorry?
They'll stay longer and you'll last longer and you get more out of them if you just wash them.
Yep, hand wash and hang to dry, and then put them back in the appropriate package that you had on your dresser, and then you're going to have a nice organized hosiery drawer that you could pick out. Okay, that's the 15 denier. It's got the matte finish, and that's perfect for what I need. Instead of a plastic bag and a pair of hoses, and it's like, what is this? And then you sit there and pull it out, you stretch it out on your hands, like, oh yeah, that's what I think I need today. Instead of just looking at the package and say, yep, that's what I need.
Need to be more organized here. Okay.
Right. And if you have a run on the top of the thigh and you got your nail polish, but yet I could wear a longer skirt, do you write that on the package and say, yeah, that's got the run, instead of putting your hand through it and inspect it. But again, that's time, and it's probably one of those, are you serious type of organizations? But
invest in a couple of pairs of rubber gloves, which you can find just about at any grocery store or any.
Yeah, I think that's a huge tip, and your listeners might think it's a little odd, but once they try it, there's the hallelujah type effect that we hear about all the time when we email customers, and then they write back and it's like, I can't believe I haven't done that in years, like forever. Like I've been wearing hosiery for years, and I've been struggling with just getting them on properly.
So for a 50-cent pair of
dishwashing gloves, yeah,
you could save a $25 pair of hosiery.
Yeah, and make the $25 pair of hosiery fit the way they should, instead of trying to manipulate it with your fingernails and trying not to tear through it, and you're sitting there struggling when you shouldn't. So you got a full protected hand with the grips to get that well designed and high-end type fiber to sit properly on your curves and body shape and around your feet and your ankles and we're not talking square on square. We're talking something that needs to basically fit you like a glove on the full lower half of your body.
Right.
And this is the manufacturer's quest. It's like, well, how do we take this fiber and knit something that's only 5 sizes and is supposed to fit how many body shapes for only 5 sizes? Like, what other garment can fit so closely out there without being tailored? When it comes to panels, like, we have to make this fit from your toes to your waist and do it in a comfortable way and being skin tight.
And do that without NASA's budget. Yeah. Right.
And if you see the factories, you can see it's like walking through a car factory. The steps involved, the knitting rooms, the temperature and humidity controlled rooms. Like, if the humidity drops, it affects the knitting. If the temperature rises, and it's a science. It can affect the needles and how the yarn is knitted just by the temperature and humidity of the room. Yeah. And it's all computer controlled just for the atmosphere of the room. And then they take it to the dyeing section, and that has to be monitored to a specific criteria to get the proper dyeing color after every production, because that person, she's going to buy that bronze shade, and she better well get bronze from now until 2025 if they're still making that. Yep. So there's a lot involved to go with for that $10 pair of hosiery that you think, well, should outperform anything else you wear. But when you're looking at something that you could see through
Right.
with tiny microfilaments,
Right.
like we got to hand it to you. 100 years ago, women didn't have the luxury and the availability of this yarn. Like when you really think about it, there was silk stockings which were thick and bulky and they sagged. And now it's like if they had this material 100 years ago, you'd have like hallelujah moments at Macy's, and like they were looking at nylon stockings in the 40s after the parachutes were not being needed, and there's lineups. Well, you're talking back seam type hosiery. Then they brought out the no back seam, and then they brought out Lycra, and that was a big hallelujah. Now it's like 100 times more progressed, and yet women are like, whatever.
Special thanks to our guest, Robert Safko of Shapings.com. By all means, read all about it in our show box. Check his website out. I'm certain that you're going to find some things that you're going to want to buy. Okay? All right. We'll be back with more of Lingerie Lowdown right after this from BMW. The i3, the ultimate electric driving machine.
Life is about making decisions. At BMW i, we decided it was time to reinvent the car from the ground up, making sure we were open for truly innovative ideas. We decided that the car we wanted must be electric, and it should be made of extremely light and super strong carbon fiber. And finally, we decided to make it more intelligent and added our promise of incomparable driving pleasure. We made all these decisions to offer you a choice. The all-electric BMW i3.
Welcome back now. If you're not one of the over 25,000 people who've taken the time to subscribe to our podcast, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, it's free. That's right, free. You can get us at the iTunes store because we're happy to be part of the Google Podcast family. Same goes at Google Play because we're part of the Google Podcast family. You can find us at Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify, as well as TuneIn, iHeart, and YouTube, just to name a few. Now, if for some reason you cannot find us, pull out the old Google machine, type in Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, hit the favorite button or the subscribe button, and every 2 weeks you get a brand new edition of the podcast sent to your phone, your tablet, or to both, okay? Simple enough. Please go out there and do that today, okay? All right, thanks. Speaking of thanks to Robert Safko, co-founder of Shapings.com. That's Shapings.com. All the information is in our show box below. Thanks, Robert, for coming by and talking about the science of fashion. Very fascinating stuff. By all means, check out Shapings.com. Robert was a great guest. Okay. Before we get out of here, here's something we want you to do. We want you to get that Someone Special a subscription to Lingerie Lowdown. That's www.lingerielowdown.com. Get it for your girlfriend or your wife. Get it for yourself. Hey, you both are going to enjoy watching our presenters give the lowdown on lingerie, bra, hosiery, bodysuits, and much, much more, folks. We're talking about thousands of fashion items, and they're right there, so outstanding. Something you might want to wear in the bedroom, something you want to wear out for a night on the town, something you want to wear at the office every day, okay? Guys, you're going to be able to find briefs and other underwear that'll make you feel confident and maybe even give your partners a treat. We also are looking at sportswear and much, much more. So it's for guys and for gals. Our team of impartial reviewers include everyday girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, husbands, professional models, people who are TV presenters and actors. They're going to give you their honest, impartial reviews of the big brands and even some that you haven't even tried yet, some of the smaller cutting-edge brands. We're not affiliated with any brand, so you're going to get the best presentation and the best review from our presenters from all across the world. Now, here's the cool part. You get a 10% discount. All you have to do is join one of our 6 or 12-month membership plans. Simply enter the coupon code when prompted. That's enter that coupon code when prompted. It is this week SHAPE, S-H-J-P-E, that's S-H-A-P-E, pod, P-O-D, one word, when prompted, and receive a 10% discount off the price of joining a 6 or 12-month subscription to Lingerie Lowdown, the website. Please go out there and join today. All right, for everybody here at Lingerie Lowdown, the podcast, who helped us out, we greatly appreciate it. We will see you in 2 weeks' time with a brand new edition of the podcast. So be careful out there and enjoy the fun of your spring fortnight.